Hi everyone, I'm jeanniedibon and let's get zebra strong. So today we're talking about speed, as in speed of movement. So when people start working with me, they often comment and complain sometimes that the movements they do are slow, much slower than they're used to. We're often used to rushing through an exercise just to get it done. But if we do that, we're actually missing a really important trick. In the slowness, you build sensitivity. Now, with a hypermobile body, we know that we lack proprioception, we lack control. So unless we slow things down, how are we ever going to build that control, that proprioception, that sensitivity? So the speed at which you move, certainly initially when you're learning, is vital to success. Okay, because you're going to become more receptive to what's going on. You're going to be more present, more aware. So there's a whole range of benefits available to you for slowing down your movements. So why don't we do a little experiment together and see if the slowness does impact our control and our awareness. So I'm going to lie down. Grab a cushion if you need to support your head. So we're going to do a really great exercise for pelvic stability. They're called knee drops. Really fantastic exercise that we should get a lot of feedback from this one. Okay, and we're going to do it twice. So we're going to do the two versions, the slow one and the not so slow one. So let's lie down, get comfy. You're going to have your feet and knees together, if that's comfortable. If it hurts your back, some people don't like having their feet and knees together, you could go a little bit wider, but if at all possible, bring them together. And then just place your arms, either palms up, palms down, whatever feels comfortable for you. Okay, so the knee drop exercise involves the pelvis staying nice and heavy, so we need to just do a few breaths and just become aware of the body. So the exercise itself involves one leg coming out to the side and then coming back in. So if I was doing it in a quick way and not in this slow method, I could do something like this. So I just let the leg fall out to the side, go quite close to the floor. I don't know if you can see, but my pelvis has sort of tipped up a little bit. So this half of my pelvis is now off the floor. And then I'll just bring it back up. So I could do the other side. Hopefully you'll see what happens. So I'm just going to let the leg go. There we go. Not a lot of control. My hips come off the ground. I'm kind of hanging off this hip joint and I'll just bring it back up. So you can probably see I've got some movement at my waist. Just not a lot of control. And the problem with things like this is because I'm hypermobile and that lack of eccentric muscle control, I just fall into gravity quite quickly. So I've got no control, I'll just drop into it and there's my exercise. Okay, so it's not going to do me an awful lot of good, okay, because I'm not really learning anything. I'm just replicating my hypermobility and letting my hips be very floppy and mobile. Okay, so what do I teach people? I teach them to move with this slow approach, this softer, more controlled approach. So let's place our hands on our pelvis so that we get a sense of whether that pelvis does tip over like it did just now for me. So I'm going to keep my hands here. So I know the objective of the exercise is to keep the pelvis nice and heavy. So breath is going to help with that. So we just allow the breath to come into the back of the body and we just start to feel the weightiness. Now, if we start with the right leg, the one that's closest to you, I'm going to think about very slowly allowing that leg to come out to the side. So I'm actually having to pay a lot of attention to the other hip to make sure that it stays heavy so that the leg does not tip over or the pelvis doesn't tip over. So I'm probably going to get to about here. Okay, I can feel a bit of abdominal work. I can feel that I'm having to keep this side of my pelvis nice and heavy. And I'm having to work to hold this leg in space rather than letting it drop to the floor. So we're going to take a breath in. Now I'm very slowly going to bring that leg back up. So I'm having to work against gravity now, and it's actually shaking a little bit. That's normal because the muscles are having to work on the way up. So let's do the other side very slowly. Can I pay attention to that very gentle movement? Can I feel the leg moving in the socket? What's happening to this one? Is it starting to lift? Because also now I have more control. I can notice, oh, I'm starting to lift. I've got much more control. I can adjust myself much easier than if I've just fallen. Now I've got a lot of catching up to do. So let's do one more each side. Nice and heavy, hands on the hips. How slowly can you go? It feels ridiculously slow. It will be like the slowest thing you've ever done. But think of the benefits. I've got control, I've got proprioception, I'm building strength now as I lift that leg back up. And the abdominals kick in naturally because they're helping lift the leg back up. My lower back is staying nice and quiet. There's no risk of jarring my lower back. And then I'm going to lift that leg all the way back up. And again, I've got a little shake because those muscles are having to wake up and do the job. And just take a little breath there, let everything relax. And let that go. And then I'm just going to slowly come up to a seated position. So I hope that demonstrated sort of the two extremes, how we can just let go and let gravity just drop you into a position and you're not really going to get any improvement in your proprioception or your joint control. But if you slow things down, you're going to really start to feel the benefits. You're going to feel muscles working. You're going to start to really build strength and control. So thank you for listening and thank you for coming. Until next time, keep zebra strong.